Oh my God! It's episode 2. Episode 1 happened, and you clicked a YouTube link again because you're crazy. You're crazy, and I love you. We have Andrew and Rob from Blessed State. Stick around. It's going to be better than last time. Stick around. It's going to be so much better than last time. Stick around. It's going to be better than last time. Are we recording? Okay, so here we are. We are a very young group of young professionals here. This is episode 2. If you listened to episode 1, you already heard me say thank you in my big stupid intro. But let's cut right to the chase. I'm sitting in the warm practice space. I'm drinking a dogfish namaste. Namaste, and that's how you say it. And I've never had this before. It's delicious. It was provided to me by my guests here today, Rob Flagler and Andrew McCarthy of the band Blessed State. Gentlemen, thank you for coming here.
Thanks for having us.
No, say it sexier.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, that was creepy. Over in...
You said creepier, right?
No, I said sexier, but I guess those two things can often mean the same thing.
Yeah.
So you guys play in a band called Blessed State, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes, and this is a fairly new project.
The band has been functioning for like 2 years or something.
2 years. So I'm way behind. I think the reason I'm thinking it's new is because I think I associate you. Well, you guys do a lot. So actually, let's start there. All right. So we're gonna start with Rob. Rob, you are not just you play guitar in Blessed State.
Yeah.
You're not just a guitarist in Blessed State. You do a lot of other things. What else?
I play the pedals on the...
No, you do other instruments. You play in a lot of other bands. That's what I mean.
Not anymore. Andrew and I played bass, or I played bass and Andrew played drums in a hardcore band called Ratzinger. And we broke up around the same time Blessed State really got started. And I was playing bass in another band called Starvation Dance, and they also broke up right about the same time Blessed State started getting really moving. So
well, that's cool. That's good. And Andrew, you are drummer extraordinaire. What were you doing before Blessed State happened?
I was also playing in Ratzinger with Robert here. I played in this band Hackles. That's a bad experience.
The Hackles was a bad experience?
No, it was a lot of fun.
Good.
I play in this band, World Domination. So, I say some other stuff, but that's what's coming out.
That's the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you guys are in a band, you were in another band together. What was the inspiration like? What was it like? We want to make Blessed State. We want to make Blessed State like what's the driving? What are the influences? Where does it come from?
So, I had originally been thinking about just doing like a melodic punk band like the Wipers or Husker Du, Replacements, like name an 80s American punk band that moved away from hardcore. Mm-hmm. And initially it was me and Dan Kozik of Ratzinger on drums and Kiana and
Dan was playing drums.
Yeah, DK played drums originally. And then about a month before our first show, he had just gotten a new job where he had to work nights, so he had to quit because he wanted to keep doing One Happy King and Ratzinger. And so he hung up the phone. I hung up the phone, and I called Andrew and taught Andrew the set. We wrote one new song, and
that's what Andrew said when he called him, or when he called, he just burped for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had been practicing in our basement. Me and Dan lived together, so it wasn't too hard to move. To just kind of, when I would have been like lying in my bed after work, hearing them, I just started going down playing with them. So
all right, cool.
So Dan started doing his second shift evening job, and yeah.
So that's how Andrew started on drums. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like those guys need a drummer, so I'm just going to go down and be the drummer.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Is that the row house?
Yep.
We'll talk about the row house later. But I guess before that, so I guess obviously you're two different people. You're not just one person.
That's thankful.
Yes.
I imagine, and I know just from being around you guys for at least a little bit, you guys are obviously very influenced in the punk scene. But let's start with you, Rob. As a guitar player, at least, I guess as an overall musician, but as a guitar player, who would you say are some of your primary influences? And maybe not just as a guitar player, but overall.
Yeah.
Bands, people, whatever.
Like as a guitar player, Ron Ashton of the Stooges, Peter Buck of REM, obviously Bob Mould, Jay Mascis. Just in terms of like attitude, the Stooges and Sonic Youth, when I was growing up in Buffalo, were just like really, really influential, and just just a lot of the punk stuff from the 70s and 80s that wasn't like, I never got into the British stuff. It was like mainly American punk music.
And that's something I didn't even think about. You're not actually from Connecticut or Massachusetts. You grew up in Buffalo.
Yeah.
What are the biggest, what's the biggest difference coming from not just like a punk scene in Buffalo, but like what's
Well,
the
there
biggest?
wasn't one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was the only punk there was two other punks in my high school, and they were like hippie punks and just like really liked to get fucked up and listen to the Grateful Dead, and I just didn't like that scene. So
Yeah. How about a music scene in general? Like, is there a big difference?
yeah, because everybody in Buffalo's into like jam bands and just shitty singer-songwriter schlag shit.
That kind of sucks.
There's some punkin'
Yeah.
scene up there now.
In the city itself, I grew up in the suburbs, and my parents wouldn't let me go into the city to go to house shows, so it was it's pretty maddening.
Yeah. So, like, you go from Buffalo to Western Massachusetts. Like, was it a huge? Well, you went to UHart, right?
Yeah, I went to UHart for 3 years.
UHart in Connecticut, and wound up in Amherst.
Yeah, now I go to UMass, and I'm finishing up next year.
Nice.
I remember the first night I met Andrew, it was at the Thunder Mill, which was this old shed in Holyoke that Dylan from One Happy King's grandparents.
His grandma.
His grandma,
His
yeah.
grandmother's.
It was just like, oh, this is my tribe. This is where I belong.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So there was a kind of like an explosion, like it went from nothing to like.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now that's weird to me because you think of like, I don't know. I think of Buffalo maybe just because I'm from Connecticut and I don't get out of my state very much. Like I would think like Buffalo would have a more avid like music scene than maybe not Massachusetts, but certainly Connecticut. I don't know.
I mean,
That's
there's a lot of stuff going on like in the city with like the punk scene. You know, there's a lot of good bands like Mall Walkers, although I think they're breaking up now. You know, there's stuff going on, but it was so far removed from my reality that it just like I was graduating high school and I was like I should move because I just didn't really see any future in Buffalo.
That's pretty. Like again, it's weird because I imagine Buffalo and I imagine a much cooler place than like Connecticut. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
it's cool. I love it. It's my home, but it's
In terms of music,
It's pretty easy, I think, to be in your high school years and kind of just not be clued into the things that are going on.
Yes.
With probably a little bit of an older crowd or whatever. And I have no idea what was going on in Buffalo at that time, but
there's a really good shoegaze band.
isn't like Brown Sugar from Buffalo?
Yeah, Brown Sugar's from
Brown
there.
Sugar.
They're amazing.
If
Or
you're
they
listening to
were.
this, I've never heard them. If you're listening to this, go
They're-
check out Brown Sugar.
Their last show ever was really good. It was with Herpes, Hunted Down, Globsters, and the Elsinores. Those last two bands are from Louisville, Kentucky, and it was a
Hell of a good time.
Yeah, it was a hell of a good time.
Good, nice. Brown Sugar, go check them out. Now Andrew, drummer extraordinaire. And same question. Influences. What's the deal? How'd you? What's like the moment where you're like, "Fuck, I gotta play drums." Like, how'd that happen?
Shit.
Easy question, I know.
Well, yeah. 1 year, I would say. Well, I actually always wanted to play drums as a little kid. I played on the pots and pans,
Oh, yeah.
on the whole stereotype toddler drumming future. Then I kind of probably forgot about it for a little while. I had a little floor tom drum, like with little animals on it. You've probably seen one of those.
Of course.
My dad got me Zeppelin 2 and The Kids Are All Right 1 year for Christmas. And I was like, yeah, all
Nice.
right, I gotta figure out how to do this.
Nice.
And then shortly after, I was at a family dinner at my uncle's house. Walked down into his basement with him to like look at the meat in his fridge or
Yeah.
freezer or something because he had like a backstock of meat. I don't know if I was interested in that, but I walked by a shitty old Rogers drum set. And
He really wanted you to be a butcher.
I was like, can I use those? They're pretty dusty. They look like maybe I could play those, keep them at my house. And he said, yes, Andrew, you can do that.
That's very cool.
So that's how I started playing. And yeah, big influences, Bill Ward, Keith Moon, Earl Hudson of the Bad Brains. This kid Tim Rowan, who
Oh yes.
he grew up in the same town as me. He was a great natural born drummer. He really that pushed me to be a drummer. Yeah. Started playing in a metal band called Vengeance in middle school.
You played in a metal band?
Yeah.
I did not know that. What
Yeah.
kind of metal?
It was attempting to be like a new wave of British heavy metal
Oh, nice.
/ thrash
Nice.
metal. We couldn't really decide if we're gonna be like Metallica or Iron Maiden, so we just kind of bounced around.
Used
doing
them
that
together?
stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Cool. Now, I don't know how much this might expose my lack of, I don't know what to call it, but in terms of like your gear, like let's transition into like gear, and because we're all kind of, I think at least somewhat gearheads, but like, you're playing in a punk band. Is there more of a thought of like, it's not so much about what you're playing, it's more like the attitude of how you're playing it. So like, do you put much stock into like what kind of drums you use, what kind of drum heads you use, what kind of cymbals you use? Is it like do you have a specific preference, or is it just like I can make anything sound badass?
There's a little bit of that. There's it's nice to have
Stuff that works.
Find the stuff that you like and that works. Yeah, it's always been a little bit essential to make do with what I had, I guess, just because I don't know, I just didn't know how to get a nicer drum set so I'd just fiddle with it and try to get it to sound good. Heads, all heads are expensive, so I'm not really as particular as say Eric of Warm, but
Fuck him, by the way. He's too particular. He's
I'm looking at
Fucking vegans.
I'm looking at his drum set right now, so
Yeah.
out of him.
It's not too particular. It's just it's a little particular. A little bit.
Yeah.
Particular enough.
It's gone down quite a number of drums and cymbals.
Yes, absolutely.
Ever
Yeah.
since that first time he saw Danger, he was like, "Oh man, that guy, he knows what he's doing." Yeah, and he cut down on those drums.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think not to talk too much about Eric, but I think the less actually what he has right now. So he got 1, 2 floor toms and a bass drum and a snare drum. I think he drums better when he's got less. Remember when he had the big, like a bunch of stuff, and I think it kind of convoluted what he was doing. I think that's kind of the case. Speak to that though, because do you think some drummers make that work, or do you think it's like a thing where it's like, no, just bare bones, make it work?
if you're Keith Moon, you can make it work. But like, if you listen to like Zeppelin bootlegs, like the later stuff when Bonham had the huge kit, he just seems lost. That's my opinion. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't really speak for other people. I'm sure Eric could make more work and kind of do his own thing with it. I get a little lost or like excited when there are too many things.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not.
Start like doing some kind of, I don't know, Santana bongo solo. Like,
You should. I think you should incorporate some Santana. I don't know. I feel the same way. I don't. I'm not like an official drummer or anything, but I sit down and drum sometimes, and I feel like the more I have to hit, the stupider it gets sometimes. 'Cause it just feels like I'm not playing what should be played, and I'm just kind of hitting things. But
We got a little crazy with the drums on the record.
speak to that, please.
'Cause
Explain.
Well, I was the intern at Stone Lab, so they have like 5 kick drums, like from a 20-inch Ludwig all the way up to like a 28, and we switched out cymbals for certain songs, and I don't know. What did you use that Gretsch kit?
yeah, I don't know if we got crazy.
I
but
just remember like switching.
I used a drum set, a nice Gretsch drum set that was there, and then I switched out and used my own cymbals at one point.
For a couple,
For a few tunes.
Cool. Now, Rob might be a little different story here with the gear. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, at least I know you to, you're a trader, right?
Yeah, but I've gotten over that to an extent.
Oh, yeah?
He's
Yeah.
more into just like blowing whatever shit up he has.
Yeah.
Did you say blowing it up?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Actually, a week before our first show, both Keon and I's amps blew up.
Oh.
So,
Well, what are you currently using now?
I-
What's the, give me a rig rundown.
basic rig
Mike
is...
Taylor's rig rundown. Okay, go ahead.
Do you want guitar all the way into amp, or...
However you want to do it. Yeah, let's start there.
Okay, so guitars, I have Fender Jaguar with... I'm left-handed, too.
Oh, yeah?
So that makes things really hard. So I got the Kurt Cobain signature model. I mean, I love Nirvana, but I got it because it was the only left-handed offset Fender, and it has a super distortion in the bridge, and I put a coil tap in it, and that's for like drop D and open G songs, which is like the first half of our set. And I have a Les Paul with P90s in it. I use for all the standard stuff, and then I typically like ZVEX Box of Rock. Real tube driver preamp for my distortion. I just use the boost on the Box of Rock. I have this really cool Ram's Head Big Muff clone, like a 70s Electro Harmonix Memory Man, and my signature piece is my Ibanez CS9 chorus pedal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that thing kicking around.
Yeah, and then for amps, typically, if we're doing a show out of town, I'll just do one amp. I have a 1980 Marshall JMP 50 watt master volume through a JCM 900 cab, and if we're playing shows in Western Mass, I'll also throw in a Roland Jazz chorus just to get a little stereo separation.
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
But I get kind of crazy on the record. I used
My Roland Jazz chorus, it's not working right now. And there's like this one guy that used to use it
Oh
sometimes.
no, I don't want to get into this.
I'm wondering if he could fix it.
I could.
No, I don't. This is not. I mean, I'll let it happen. Don't get me wrong, because it's entertainment. But
It's entertainment.
it is entertainment. Rob, who's he referring to?
Oh, he's referring to me.
I'm not saying Rob broke it.
It just
I'm
broke when
saying
he was
He
using-
used it a lot, and now it doesn't work. And he's the only guy I know that might fix it. So
Oh boy, well, that's all right. That's okay. So maybe not. Maybe he didn't break it, but it broke while he was using it.
well,
Yeah,
maybe he didn't
maybe.
even break while he was using it.
Maybe it
But it's. I just want it to work so I can like be like play some guitar
Yeah.
up in my room,
All in your
down
room?
in the basement. And I think Rob, he might have a shot at like being like, oh, let me see that wire. Let me see
Yeah,
that.
it's probably really simple.
Oh, because you are a repairman.
Not really.
Well, you
I could if I
right.
put enough effort into it.
Well, that's fine. But I'm gonna let you guys. You're gonna do this. You're gonna duke it out later.
Okay.
But
You
so
could take me really easy.
I don't know. You both. If I wouldn't cross either one of you if I was walking down the street. So you guys walking all not talking and looking down at the ground, I'd be like, I'm not fucking with that guy. But so you just recorded, or
Yeah.
you didn't just? Did you just record?
No, we recorded last summer.
Okay. Well, that's fairly yeah, well. So you, Rob, are an intern at a studio called Sone Lab.
I was. I never like officially stopped or anything, but since I transferred from UHeart, where I was doing an audio program, to UMass, where I'm not doing an audio program, it just didn't. I was too busy with school, and it didn't. Yeah, I hang out there sometimes.
Where is Sone Lab?
Some labs in East Hampton, like down the street from the Flywheel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. Is the Flywheel still there?
Yeah, we're playing there tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. So if you're listening to this, even though it'll probably come out after this date, Flywheel is a cool venue. I like the Flywheel a lot. It's a cool place.
Yeah,
We've played there a
it can be
couple
kind
times.
of big for the shows that it has sometimes.
Yes.
But it's still a great place.
Yeah, no, it smells good in there. I like the way it smells.
Yeah, it's way better smell than their house.
We'll talk about that. But what was the process like? Like, did you guys just all go into the room together, or did you track separate, or what happened?
Yeah, he set up in the drum room, and then Kiana and I set up our amps into ISO booths, and we just kind of played the tracks live, and then I did, and then there was another day of just like me doing guitar overdubs for 5 hours, and Kiana and Brian did vocals for the other 5 hours, and then we mixed it in a day. It only took like 3 days to record.
Wow, shit.
Yeah.
Now, the world that I come from, that's very different.
Yeah.
Because we're very, we take a long time. And we tried to do a similar thing, which unfortunately didn't work out, but not to talk too much about us, but we did try recording live. Drum sound just wasn't up to snuff because the room that we're in right now, there was just simply wasn't enough separation, and it's pretty much all concrete, so a lot of reverberation kind of fucking with the drum sound. But do you think you guys could do a track-by-track setting? I guess what I'm getting at is, does this band or this style of music, does it just need to be all at once? I would kind of argue that it does.
Yeah, I
don't-
think.
you know,
Yeah.
hey,
What do you
go
think?
ahead.
I'd be interested if I had the right moment to try it
Yeah.
that way. But I yeah,
Because
it does make sense to do it live.
we have this new song where I could see it going track by track, but that's like one out of however many songs we have.
So that's track by track though. How about a metronome? Because fuck metronomes. Let me tell you something right now.
I should use those.
No, you shouldn't. You're good. You don't need one.
I always wind up like playing several different tempos for one song. It's like, Andrew, I think you sped up a little bit.
Yeah, on Ghost Front, we went
Like,
from
yeah, that's how the song goes. Haven't you heard it before?
on the song Ghost Front on the record. We were having trouble getting takes, and Justin Pizzaferato, the engineer, was like, "Yeah, you guys go from 130 BPM in the chorus to 180 in the bridge."
Now here's the problem though. But you eventually got it.
Yeah,
obviously.
we got it.
But that's the thing, is that when you take that and you're doing it all together, it's one thing. But when you're doing that all together and then you try to tell the computer to do it, and then the computer tries to tell you to do it, it's very confusing. There's this chain of things that shouldn't be there sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, for the right band, obviously, or the right kind of music, it should be there. But I would make a strong argument that you guys did the right thing, and it sounds really good.
Thanks.
But what was that process like? Was it a bitch? Was it fun? Now, again, I guess where I was going was, as I said, for us, it takes a long time. Do you feel like you can capture that all in a couple days? Or
Yeah.
do you feel like like you kind of compromise on a couple things or whatever?
Mark Candelor told me something beautiful once, where he said, "Perfect is the enemy of good."
Oh, yes. I like that a
So,
lot.
Basically, like, there was some weird things I was trying during overdubs and it just wasn't working, and I think you just have to know when, like, to stop. Also, the song Best Case Scenario, the take on the record is the first time we had played that ever.
Really?
Like, from start to finish, and yeah.
So it was like almost a new song and you guys just went in and recorded it?
Yep.
Yeah, it took
pretty
us.
sweet.
It took us like an hour. We had 2 hours left, and it took us like an hour to just get it like working.
Yeah,
And
it's changed a little bit since then.
yeah, it's a little slower. It's a little more rhythmic-y.
A few more fills.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. Now, how'd you guys put it out?
Uh,
Well, first of all, let's do this. What's the record called?
heads.
It's called Headspace,
Headspace.
which is a song on the album.
Cool. How'd you guys put it out?
This
Not literally. Well, I guess literally you could. I mean, I was speaking more in terms of the format, but distribution as well.
we put it out on a 12-inch record. It's not out yet.
Yeah, June
Pre-orders.
24th
Pre-orders available now.
Nice.
on Safety Meeting Records
Yeah,
from New
Safety.
Haven.
Yeah. It's a gentleman, Carlos. I don't know his last name.
Carlos Wells. He
Carlos
did.
Wells.
He's done Brian's other band, Iron Hands. His record.
Brian's the singer.
Yeah, their records, all the Stone Titan shit.
Ah.
That label. So we're just going off those two bands. We might sound like a weird fit for that label, but
Hey, that's
It
cool.
worked.
Man. So, but the songs are available, right?
no.
Not at all.
Headspace is up on the Bandcamp, and I think we're putting up Best Case Scenario sometime next week.
Because I knew I heard something. I was like, I know
Yeah.
there's a Blessed State Bandcamp out there.
Well, yeah, there's the demo is up. Our demo tape, 4-song demo tape that we recorded with Brian Paz in New Haven. And then there's Headspace, the title track. And then there's a video online of Best Case Scenario. And I will burn you a copy of the album if you need
absolutely.
it before it comes out.
Oh, absolutely. So what is the Bandcamp link?
BlessedStateMA.bandcamp.com, I think.
And the song on this Bandcamp is called Headspace from the album Headspace,
Bandspace.
not Bandspace. No,
MySpace.
Wind Van.
Wind.
I was thinking about
Inside joke 2009. Headspace from Headspace. We're going to take a listen right now. So this is Headspace from Headspace coming at you right now. Okay, well, we're back. That was Neil Hamburger's here. That was Rob.
That's my life.
That was Rob Flagler, and to his immediate left is Andrew McCarthy, and you just heard Headspace from the record Headspace. So what I want to talk about now, I think, is a pretty cool thing. I don't really, for instance, I guess what I was about to say was my band in particular, we don't play in Western Mass a whole lot, but every time we have, it's pretty cool. It's a very fun time. Everybody there is pretty cool. What is Western Massachusetts all about? Because there's a huge underground punk scene. Well, there's a lot of scenes in Western Massachusetts. There's bands that I wouldn't expect from Massachusetts, and they're from specifically Western Massachusetts, and I go, that's very strange. But, because it's not the Western Massachusetts that I know, really. But what is it? Explain it. Why is it cool? Why is it awesome? Go.
Let's see. Western Mass.
Or is it awesome? Are you gonna go the other way? That'd be funny.
It has its awesome moments. It's
tell me all about it.
All right. Well, there's lots of. I wouldn't say there's like tons of punk, but there's like a punk band here or there. I think there's like a good blend, a nice healthy mix of music that's like has the same like ethos, but doesn't necessarily play the same style of music, like from psychedelic and noise and some metal bands and hardcore and punk and that kind of have the same. We'll play in your basement toward type of vibe, and people know each other or they don't, and then they get to know each other, or they continue to walk by each other every day without saying hello.
That's what Headspace is about.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Learned something new. I was in Cleveland this weekend playing with my other band, World Dom, and I guess that came up quite a few times as a topic of conversation, just of how that happens, how in Western Mass specifically, there's just seems to be some kind of like, oh, well, it's cool. Well, I'm not being rude. I'm doing my own thing. But I don't know. People got all these basement projects, and they just keep their heads down all winter, and then the sun comes out, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go swimming together. Okay.
Yeah. It's not like really stratified or any like.
Explain.
Like I went to, when I first moved out here, I would go to metal shows that Warren would play. And now that I'm in Blessed State, because Brian lives in New Haven, we'll play New Haven a lot, and I don't really see the same people that like I would see at Warm shows at like a Blessed State gig in New Haven. Whereas like you go to a Western Mass gig, you're just gonna see everybody, like whether it's a metal show, a noise show. I mean, obviously, some people like cling to, like you'll see them more often, but it's not out of the question to see, somebody that plays in a metal band at like Tony Pascarosa doing a Crystalline Roses set at a bookstore.
Does it happen? That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
Also, like, there's really, there's like, because of that lack of stratification, you will see like really cool bills. Like, Speedy Ortiz played with Ungoliant once, and that was really funny.
I heard things about that show.
Yeah, this grind band from Milwaukee called Mellow Harsher played, and so it was those two and Speedy Ortiz.
The other thing is that there's this kind of a unique motion to the music in Western Mass. Maybe it's not unique. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass. But like just the college area thing does a lot for moving things through some kind of weird filter, and there's some people you've been seeing for years, and then there's always each year there's like, oh, there's this other group of kids, they're starting a band, okay, so, and then they play together. So freshmen at Hampshire are playing shows with people who have been playing in the area for a long time, and
like Neutral Fixation.
Yeah, and that's a band. Neutral Fixation is a band of two guys from Pittsfield who have been playing music in Western Mass, for the better part of their 20s or whatever, since high school, and they're playing with two guys from Hampshire College. Well, one of them just moved away, so they're not playing anymore. But
it was kind of like a big network almost of.
Yeah.
That's cool. Cool. You and I, Andrew, specifically had a conversation. So my band, Warm, went on tour with a band called Neoteric with our friends Nick Holtz and Gershwin. How do you say Gershwin's last name?
Chapter Lane.
Let's just call him Gershwin. And Dave Pocket. and his name is Pocket. I don't care.
Pocket.
Yeah.
Dave Pocket.
Palmer Dave.
Palmer Dave. We kind of got screwed over a little bit in a show in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
And Andrew was with us. He wasn't playing in Neoteric, but he came with us. We had a cool conversation about what it's like to explain, like when your family members, I don't know if you remember this, like when your family members are kind of like, I want to come see your band, or like your coworkers are like, I want to come see your band. Like, yeah, let's go see your band. It's like, well, here's the thing, is I just loaded a whole bunch. If you want to come see my band, sure, but you got to understand, I'm about to load a bunch of really heavy equipment down a shady fucking flight of stairs into a basement that smells like people are dead and there's just been drugs and all kinds of bad things happening. Not all drugs are bad. Explain that, if you could, what it's like, because we all work regular jobs, and I think sometimes people, when they hear you're playing a show, they think you're playing at like some awesome club and there's like 100 people there. But it was cool. You worded it really cool back then, but talk to that if you could, because
Yeah.
I liked that conversation a
I
lot.
vaguely remember that, but I definitely know what you're talking about in
Yes.
general. Yeah, that certainly happens with family members and coworkers, and just friends outside of the, I guess, the quote unquote scene, or several sects of scenes, or people who are in a scene that is just completely different than what you're used to.
Right.
I remember
Yeah, I wind up playing in basements a lot. The row house, my old house, had a lot of basement shows, so we'd be playing in our own basement. There was Dad City and Amherst. There's, they'll come and go as the summers go. But those, we're not making a lot of money or anything. We're not making any money, but those shows are that's kind of the most fun way to just play a gig and get a touring band on a decent show where people are going to come and watch the band and have fun. There occasionally will play a bar or something, and I kind of like look out for these like once in a blue moon moments where my band that's maybe like a little bit more making sense, or like not complete chaos,
Yeah.
happens to also be playing
Yeah.
at a bar or a club, and I'll invite someone from work to go see. 9 times out of 10, no one comes anyway. They'll talk and talk and talk about it. They want to come see your band, and then you'll give them the chance, and
They
they'll
don't
come,
Exactly.
which is fine.
Well, to me, it speaks really to a lot of people's perceptions about what a touring band is.
Yeah.
Because, like for instance, my brother, when I tell my brother that my band is planning a tour, kind of scoffs a little bit because he doesn't really understand. In his mind, the word tour means like a Van Halen tour, when you're playing like 30,000 seat arenas. That's what tour means to him. He doesn't understand that like bands are booking their own tours, and this is obviously not a new thing, but bands are booking their own tours, and a lot of that means playing in basements. And we saw Ian Mackay talk at UConn, and he said that's where the shit is happening now. It's like we're taking it out of, we're robbing the alcohol industry, and sometimes that's a good thing, not putting any kind of age limit on it and saying you have to be 21 plus to drink here. The real tours, the real shit is happening in basements, which is kind of awesome. So speak to that if you could.
I've been lucky enough to see quite a few incredible concerts or shows in the past 5 to 10 years, and I'd have to say 80% of them were in like someone's house that I know. Those, I've been to a few bigger concerts, sure, but and they're usually great because that's like I know I'm going to see a certain band that I like.
Right.
But they're just the basement shows are full of surprises. You go to see your friend's band, and then you wind up seeing like one band that is like the absolute worst shit on the planet that you need to go upstairs and sit on the toilet for if there's anyone
Not on the couch.
toilet.
No,
Not on the couch.
On the
Couch is
toilet.
full, you know. Well, you could sit anywhere to avoid them. Go outside, start smoking cigarettes for the first time in your life, pick up a horrible habit or something. But then there are other times where it's like, whoa, okay, these guys are like these 18 and 19-year-olds from, I don't know, Arizona. Like, what is going on? This is like,
Why are these guys playing in a basement and not?
why are they playing in Holyoke or Florence, Massachusetts? It's like, yeah.
Why aren't they playing? For
Hopefully,
a lot
I can
more?
get them $30 so that they can
Yeah.
get to the next place, and I'll buy a record and look back and say,
But that's a good, that's a good segue. I think we're on our way to wrap this up here, but that's a really good segue. So we're in these bands and we load a bunch of really heavy shit downstairs and play for sometimes a lot of people, sometimes not very many people, but why? You know, we're not going to make $30. We're probably going to spend more money playing than we did. You know, we could have just stayed home and not spent the money. So why? What's the deal? What's going on? Why do you guys do it? Robert?
I don't have a choice in the matter. I feel like I have to do it. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like my life would just be really empty if I didn't, not even if I didn't play shows, but like if I didn't play an instrument or just like jammed with friends. Like it's just, it fills a void that like nothing else can. And it's like, that sounds really fucking cheesy and like an inspiration quote.
But it's so true.
But you know, like, you know, I really like playing guitar, and if I can, you know, I play because it makes me feel happy. So if other people want to listen, that's cool too, but they don't have to be there.
But you should be there, folks. And that's what should happen. Time guy, where are we at? We're gonna edit this shit out.
About 43 minutes.
43 minutes. Perfect. Andrew, Rob, I appreciate it. This was a little bit of a drive for you. I can't offer you any gas money. Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to.
Right,
This was a purely out of love. Rob just won. He won. He beat me. Where can listeners go to check out the band Blessed State?
tomorrow at the Flywheel, we're playing with a great band called Power Blessings. It's our last show.
Their last show, not ours.
It's not our last show. We're gonna keep being in a band, but they're not gonna keep being in a band.
And by tomorrow, you mean 5:30.
5:30 on the dot.
How many? Not 5. I mean May 30th.
May 30th.
May 30th.
How about some shows after that?
5:30.
We have a release show in New Haven on June 27th.
Perfect.
And another record release show at the Row House on July 11th. And then we're going to tour for a week, the Midwest, first week of August. And then
And how about some links? What's that Bandcamp link?
Blessed State, MA at bandcamp.com.
Facebook.
I don't know, just look up Blessed State.
Check them out, folks. Andrew, Rob, thank you very much.
One more show to plug.
Yes.
Saturday at in Florence at the Silk City Tap Room. Actually, it's called something else now.
The 13th floor.
13th floor, yep.
13th floor. My band World Domination is playing with a great band Magic Circle, first Western Mass gig. Band Internal Rot from Australia, and Gowl.
Oh, yes. Very cool. Very cool. Andrew, Rob, thanks, guys. Appreciate it for
Namaste.
coming back. Namaste.
Namaste.
Very good. Check them out, folks. This is episode 2. It was better than episode 1. And it's only going to get better. Next week reveals the debut of Matt Sampson and the GOAT 15. It's going to be a great segment. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. What? He loves this, guys. All right, goodbye. Goodbye.